Hi, I'm Captain Larry Bell with Texas Fishing Tips, and this is your weekly fishing report.
Come all the way down here to Panther Point, Panther Lake, little Swan Lake that's on the backside of Panther there here. All in this area here on the outside, all the way down to Cedar Lake, all the way over into Twin Lake. If you want to run that far, or if you're coming from Port O'Connor or from Seadrift or Ostwell or one of those areas as well, and you watch this outstanding Texas Fishing Tip stuff. These are areas with the extra water that we have with all the big moon that we're having right now. We're on the backside of that big moon, by the way, and so it's been pushing a lot of water in here. So these areas down here have become very accessible with your boats and a wade. It's a great wading area. Now, Twin Lakes you have to be careful of there. It gets a little soft in certain areas, but Cedar is really good. And, of course, Panther and all that area is really good wading. There is some nice redfish that are cruising in and out, up and down this shoreline on the outside, up inside of Twin Lake, inside of Cedar Lake, up and down the shoreline there that goes up back up to Panther and back and forth. All this area here, put your boat on the shoreline, get your down souths out, get your Miradines out, your marker 54 shrimp with shrimp not as available in our system right now as it has been in the past due to the freeze. The shrimp is a really hot bait. That thing is smoking some redfish. Just get that thing, work it, bounce it off the bottom, free line it, work it under popping cork, whatever you'd like to do with it, but it's very productive. Find your bait working in the area, incorporate that major and minor that's in there, pay attention to what's going on with your water levels, and you'll have a very productive day. Sundown Bay starting to light back up again with the redfish that are coming in and out of these back lakes, way back from Long Lake to the big cuts that come back out into the bay system right here, right there off the ICW. Head all the way down to the little cut through on the back side of the island. All this is nice, wadeable area. A little squishy in some areas. Don't worry about that. You're not going to go far, maybe ankle deep. If you can handle that, this is great areas to do this. Good amount of bait working in here. Grass is showing back up. The redfish are cruising up and down the shoreline here. They're coming in and out of that ICW. One of the main baits, again, in this area here that's worked really well is the marker 54 jerk shrimp. You can either get the hard body or you can get the soft body. Doesn't matter. Either one of them, again, with the shrimp not being as prevalent in our bay systems as it usually is, this particular bait has done really well, man. Those fish are reacting to it really good. Again, we're on the backside of a big moon. Got tides that are up. You can throw that shrimp under popping cork, free line it, whatever you like. The down south lures, magic grass, chicken of the sea. The burner shad has been pretty good too, especially when that big moon was still in place. That smaller profile bait was working really well there, so you can continue to chunk that just to see if you're still getting the reactions that you want from it. And the Miradine, that little suspended bait, you can work it. There's a lot of small bait fish that are in the system as well. Small mullet, perch, all that there. That Miradine really mimics that same bait, so it's been very productive in this area. Over here in Carlos, the fingers, all up around here on the shoreline, all the way over here to around that little reef that's right there over to this second chain islands that come back around here. Cedar Dugout, that area there. Good bunch of redfish that are working in this area. There's some black drum that are working in this area here. Again, the black drum, you can catch those on artificial with your Little John. Specifically, watermelon red has done the best for me. Not necessarily targeting black drum, but you're catching redfish in the area, and never once you think you have a redfish and it's a black drum. So yeah, they'll eat it. So if you have some Little Johns, tie one on, chunk that out there if you want to try to catch you a black drum on an artificial bait, because it can be done. Again, the jerk shrimp, marker 54 here has been really good. Down south lures have been good here, and the Miradines have been good here. There are some trout that are sprinkled in this area here, but we're in the thick of our spawning time of this year. So if you catch one of those really nice trout that's, over 20, under 20, whatever, and you see those old red bellies that's been rubbing on that bottom on the grass area, put those fish back. We really need to have those spawners in here this year as much as we possibly can. Just kind of sustain from keeping trout for now. And if you absolutely have to keep one, just keep one. Don't keep your full limit if you don't have to. But that said, all this area in here is starting to light back up. There's starting to be bait fish working in here. Redfish are cruising in and out of this area here. Be patient. Work this area really well. You'll find some nice redfish. Come up in here into St. Charles. Go all the way to the back there to Cavasso Creek, Big and Little Sharp Point, all that area there, Boy Scout Camp, all that area up in there. There's been some nice fish that are hanging in there. There's been trout in there. Again, if you don't need to keep those trout, let those fish go, especially if you see that they've got eggs and they're trying to get those nests ready to lay those eggs. But anyway, redfish have been good back in here. It's been the same baits. The jerk shrimp, the down south lures, both the magic grass and chicken of the sea have been productive. The burner shad in the supernatural and the chicken of the sea have been really good. And again, the Meridine has worked really well up in there in the Cavasso and on that shoreline that works on the west side, just down from Little Sharp and Big Sharp. All that area there has been good. Now remember, our water temps are up, air temps are up, water levels are up, and the alligators are out. So you be aware of that. If you're going to wade in that area, be very aware of your surroundings because they are there. If you want to drift it, that'd be smart. Get on your trolling motor, check your wind, whatever you got going. You can catch these fish from the boat. It's fine. I'm not a big boat guy. I like to wade, but when it comes to personal safety, I'll use the boat. So just remember that when you get up in this area here. It's been pretty productive for your redfish, so just continue to work those baits in those areas and you'll find your fish. Back here in Copano Creek, one thing you need to take in consideration when you get back in this area, it's pretty skinny, but again, we're on the backside of the big moon. Water levels have come in with these big bull tides, and another thing that you need to take in consideration here is the big rainfalls that we've just had the last few days. All that runoff's going to start coming back up in here in these creeks. You're going to get that brackish water. So when that brackish water starts happening, you got the shell pads that are around that area, you got crustaceans around that area. It brings redfish to that, and redfish, they don't mind. They adapt real good to that brackish water. So when you get up in here in Copano Creek, you may want to get you the double D. Get that out of your box. Get these areas up here on the edges. You can wade all this in here. It's squishy, but you can wade it. It's good. Again, these are another area that you need to pay attention to for alligators because I've seen them back in here as well. Every once in a while, not all the time, but they are there, so just be aware of that. Work that back shoreline. Get all the way back there where that mouth drops off and that creek comes in there. If you've got bait that's working in this area, work it. Work it really hard. Work the shrimp. Work the Market 54 shrimp, work the double D in here, work the Meridine in here, work your down souths in here. That water gets churned up in there pretty good too. Another thing that's been shown to me, that if you take a rattling jig head like the Rockport rattler, it becomes pretty effective, especially in that nasty dirty water. If you don't want to throw the double D that's got a rattle or the Meridine that's got the rattle, you can throw the top water as well in here. The top water bite has not been spectacular just yet, hadn't turned on, but if you put that Rockport rattler on, put that in that plastic in the down south bait, then you can give, you have some more rattle in there that you can throw that plastic, and then those fish will really react to that. So work the shell that's around this area here. If you wade back in here, be careful, man. It gets really squishy there in the back. Probably best if you stayed in the boat, but if you want to try it, go ahead. But this area back here, again, key thing here is if you got bait working back there, those fish are going to show up.
Thanks for watching. I'm Captain Larry Bell.